Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a live Manchester United news, transfer news, and discussion show. We'll be talking about Manchester United going on tour, who's on tour, who's not on tour, why they're not on tour, who's joining up later, and more. We'll also talk about plans, some of the changes Ineos are making, but we know that if we need any real advancements in the transfer window to happen, we need some outs. And we're getting some updates on a new McTominay bid, an approach for Eriksen, Antony up for sale, Sancho to leave, Dortmund back interested in Sancho, and Manchester United desperately looking at left centre-back signings. They've walked away from De Ligt and let's buy and lower the price because they do not want to spend any more money on a right centre-back unless it's really good value for money. And they're now looking at left defenders. Who could that new left centre-back signing be? And what is my suggestion? Because I think I've got an idea of what Man United could do, and I think it would be bloody amazing. Then we're also going to talk about a few other stories, a few other potential transfer changes, going about changing plan, touching upon some of the transfer news that's come out, Fofana, Hjulman, Sulemende, Agate, what is really going on there, what is maybe the plan for the midfield, and a couple of suggestions, and talking about the tour. So make sure you hit that like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you are new. But I want to dive into the first story. I want to dive into a couple of stories about the outs, because I think for me, the ins are slowing down a bit, and that is because we need to focus on the outs. Now, here are 3 outs that would be really good outs if they happen. Manchester United remain open to selling Jadon Sancho. We're going to touch upon this in a bit more detail in a second. With Dortmund, PSG, and Juventus, the 3 clubs interested in buying Sancho, and Borussia Dortmund ready to sort of make potential another offer. Now, it was also said that Manchester United were expecting Fulham to make another offer for McTominay. Fulham's first offer for McTominay was just shy of £30 million. Man United want £30 million for McTominay. If Fulham match that, bish, bash, bosh, if he wants to go to Fulham, that deal could be done. We're willing to cash in on McTominay. Now, interestingly, I also think if Fulham have a bit of sector for McTominay, you may see a West Ham come in, you may see a Newcastle come in, a Tottenham come in, any other club that potentially has an interest in McTominay. It was also said by Sam C reports, and not just Sam C, there's been a couple of other reports going about Eriksen and Ajax, and we know there's interest there, that has gone around for months, that Ajax are interested in Eriksen on loan. United would rather let him leave on loan with obligation to buy or just a permanent move, but there's no room for negotiation. Ajax need to sell first. Now, that is the problem. Ajax want a loan. Eriksen's got 1 year left on his deal. If you let him go on loan, you practically let him go for free. But we also know that Man United are willing to let Eriksen go for a very, very cut price because he's got 1 year left on his deal, because he's not in long-term plans, because he's on a slightly higher wage. And I think due to Manchester United and Ajax's quite a good relationship, because they're thinking, you gave us 85 million for Antony, and as good as Lisandro Martinez was, we overpaid for him. We paid over 50 million for Lisandro Martinez when the price tag on him was originally 38 million. We overpaid because we left it a bit late. So I think potentially there could be some leeway there. Ajax probably have the funds to spend a little bit of money on Christian Eriksen. Now, if I was going to give you my honest opinion, I think that Eriksen should go. I think he was good for Denmark in, of course, the Euros. I thought he was one of their better players. I think he's a good player, but 1, we don't play him in his natural 10 role. 2, because of the transition football that Ten Hag wants to play and the pace and intensity, I don't think it suits Eriksen anymore. I think Eriksen is still going to be a very, very good player for a team that would play a slightly slower approach to football in a slightly less dynamic system. So I think he's got all the abilities on the ball, and I think Eriksen will know that. He's not going to play regularly at United. He did a good job in his first season, but I do think moving on Christian Eriksen probably is the right decision to make. I think Scott McTominay leading, again, is a smart decision. I get that Manchester United are okay if Scott McTominay stays because he can make an impact off the bench. He's a hard-working player. He's not on ridiculously high wages, but he's 27. He's not getting any younger. He's off the back of what is a considerably good season for a guy that wasn't a starter, and he's got 1 year left on his deal. So this is our last chance to cash in on McTominay, and I think in a world of PSR and FFP, to make 30 million FFP profit on a guy with 1 year left on his deal that we know isn't good enough to start for United, but is a great option off the bench, but he's not good enough to start for United, and that money could be invested into a midfielder that is good enough to start for United and potentially suit Kobbie Mainoo and bring the best out of Kobbie Mainoo. I think it makes so much sense to sell McTominay. And then, of course, Sancho going makes sense as well. I like Sancho. I'd rather him play right wing than Antony. But let's be honest, Amad Garnacho and Rashford are going to be ahead of Sancho in the pecking order. Maybe Sancho can play centrally, but we've got Xerxes, we've got Højlund now. We played Sancho centrally last preseason because we were only bringing in Højlund and not another striker. We've got Xerxes now for that. So I think also it'd be smart to look at Jadon Sancho. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. Let me know your thoughts on who we should sell. I also think we should sell Casemiro to give us the funds to get those, obviously, 2 midfielders in. Because I think while Collier is good, I mean, if he really, really impresses on tour, potentially one midfielder could be enough because, look at how Kobbie Mainoo came through. And we were expecting Kobbie Mainoo to come through last season, but we weren't expecting him to maybe be as good as he was and as important as he was. And maybe Toby Collier could have that kind of impact. But as of now, I still feel that we need 2 midfielders because I think midfield is where we've probably been going wrong the most lately. I think midfield for me was our biggest issue because we were so open, and I think we can see so many shots because we were played through midfield. And I think when you've got Bruno and Kobbie, which I know are genuinely top class players, just that person that's going to be able to cover the ground and have the physical attributes to get the best out of Bruno and Kobbie, for me, is so important. Then another addition there who's maybe technically good and physically good as a depth option, like Fofana, £20 million if he is just a depth option, could be good. Maguire, McTominay to be sold. I think what Man United are thinking is if Maguire, McTominay aren't sold, we can extend their deal by 1 year, bish bash bosh. But I think United are also thinking if we've got an opportunity to cash in on them, we will. Like Maguire, at the end of the day, if he sticks around as backup to Euro and Martinez, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'd rather Maguire stick around than Lindelof, but I do think we should sell Maguire and hope to get 30 million as well. I am going to get into some breaking news coming out on Antony in just a second as well. Clubs basically offering peanuts for Antony. United have put Antony up for sale. We will get into that as well. Jadon Sancho was in talks with PSG, absolutely true. Jadon Sancho is also having talks with Juventus. Manchester United, what is the latest on Rios? There's no one reliable really linking us to Rios, if I'm going to be honest with you. There's nothing crazy reliable. Apparently, Trent Alexander-Arnold could be on the verge of moving to Real Madrid, as some rumours going about. So that'll be an interesting one for Liverpool fans as well. But I'll keep an eye on that. But we're here to talk about Manchester United news. And one story that's come out that a couple of people have been mentioning in the chat is this. Breaking: Manchester United have put Antony up for sale. Now, there's been a lot of speculation around Antony's future and Antony's future at Manchester United. It's been made very clear. Well, Antony doesn't want to leave United. He wants to prove himself. Antony's agent has come speaking out saying, Antony has a future at United, la-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. But we know deep down Ineos would like to sell Antony. There's 3 issues with selling Antony. 1, I still believe he's being investigated in Brazil, so there's the external issues going on. 2, he's on 200k a week apparently. 3, he's not been very good. And 4, because that's actually 4, FFP issues. Because of the 3-year cycle, I believe that next year it doesn't count as an FFP loss. But if we sell Antony this year, it's an FFP loss. So even if we sell Antony £30 million this season, I still think it's like a 55 million FFP loss, which may be why Man United could look at a loan with an obligation to buy next season for Antony. Because I think what United would want deep down, and they won't admit this, but it's both Sancho and Antony to leave. Antony on loan with an obligation to buy, and Antony's loan goes well to increase the value for him. Sancho to permanently leave, and then that could police due will go as well, and that could open up the door for them to potentially pursue Pedro Neto. I got information a couple of days ago that Man United do really like Pedro Neto, but it wouldn't happen until they've got another midfielder and another centre back in, and they would have to sell well. And there's also concerns over his injuries and the fee walks. If Man United could get Pedro Neto for a good price, and they sold Sancho, they sold McTominay, and they sold Lindelof, and they had the DM as centre back position sorted, they would make a move for Pedro Neto. So now, look, I don't think we're going to make a move for Pedro Neto because I don't think we're going to sell all those players, and I think that Wolves will outprice him and all of that. We also like João Gomez and Ain't Nori of Wolves. I think we'll be outpriced of that, but I think it's clear that United do want Antony gone. They're going to act like they're not because they know that he's probably going to be here next year, and they're really trying to desperately increase his value. I think, the Mazraoui links as well. I think Man United's game is, can we get some money for Antony? Probably not. Could we explore loans? Can we explore offers? There was one report saying that Man United would literally send Antony to anyone that would pay his wages, because I think they know that Ahmad is ahead of him in the pecking order. Sancho's ahead of him in the pecking order. Even though Sancho wasn't last season, and Ten Hag doesn't have the best relationship with Sancho, it doesn't take a genius to know that Sancho, Ahmad, Garnacho and Rashford are better than Antony. And for an £85 million player, you can't be a fifth choice winger. If Antony's a £25 million player, him being a fifth choice winger, that's not a big deal. But as an £85 million player, you cannot be a fifth choice winger. So it would make a lot of sense, I think, for Antony to leave Manchester United, in all honesty. Thank you very much, Michael, for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Big up everybody in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button, guys, if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new and want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. I go live every single morning and every single afternoon, guys, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest United news. And then I do 10-minute roundup videos in the evening. I've got a different kind of video planned this evening, but it depends what the news is, if I release it or not. But do stay tuned for that as well. As we dive into some other stories as well, I think loaning Antony could be the smartest move. I know he was a good player at Ajax, and I know that he scored 3 goals in his first 3 games, but he's been here 2 seasons and he's not been good enough as well. Dalot, Bruno, Neto would equal goals. It would work really well, that Portuguese trio, if Neto can stay fit, but there's definitely concerns around Neto's injury record and if he would be a good option for United as well. So let's dive into one of the next stories going about, which is confirmation that Manchester United are now looking at left-footed defenders. Now, Laurie Whitwell himself actually linked us to Sancho about 2 weeks ago, and it was very obvious that Manchester United's main alternatives to Braithwaite were left-sided defenders. Potentially, people even with the ability to play left-back does appeal to Manchester United. So, Manchester United, it appears that De Ligt to Manchester United could be off. Man United seemed to be quite close for De Ligt. It felt like it was going to happen. And then we got Euro, and then it was Braithwaite and De Ligt. We wanted one of them to go with Euro, but ideally Braithwaite because he's left-footed. Everton, despite financial issues, are not going to sell Braithwaite. They're going to offer him a new deal. So Braithwaite's considered off the market. De Ligt, we haven't made any bids. We want him for this price, but basically buy him or sell him for this price. So either this is negotiation tactic, look elsewhere. Now, I think United do predominantly want a left-footed defender, which is why they're not budging on their price that they want to get De Ligt for, because they think, well, if we can get De Ligt for this price, this is such a bargain, let's get De Ligt for experience, then just play him on the left if something happens to Martinez. But I generally think that United's focus is left-footed defenders. Now, the good thing about this is there's so many good left-footed defenders in the market that I think United wouldn't be short on options. Now, Inacio and Sancho are ones that Fabrizio Romano and The Athletic have confirmed that Man United have explored. But another player that Man United did have a little watch of was obviously Schlotterbeck. Now, this is my opinion. Not, well, this bit's news, but the next bit will be in my opinion. But the way I look at it is Juventus, Dortmund are among teams not giving up on signing Sancho. So they're not giving up on signing Sancho, Juventus or Dortmund. Dortmund do like Sancho. They just don't want to pay crazy money for him. Now, for United, want a left-sided defender, someone that can play left-back, someone that can play left-centre-back, someone that we scouted earlier on, so there had to have been some interest there, Schlotterbeck. For me, Man United should propose some kind of swap deal with Dortmund that would let Schlotterbeck go one way and Sancho go the other. Schlotterbeck's probably worth more to Dortmund than Sancho would be, so we'd have to probably give him some cash on top of that. But if I'm Man United, Sancho off our wage book, Schlotterbeck coming in, left back, left centre back, very good player, one of the most underrated players out there. I think that would be a really good deal because what you get in Schlotterbeck is a left back, a left centre back who could play with both. Someone described him as kind of Ben White, who can play right centre back and right back for Arsenal. Ended up filling in at right back because Saliba and Gabriel were so fit and so good. So let's say, Martinez and Lenny Yoro are so fit and so good, and Luke Shaw's got injury issues. Schlotterbeck may just come in as the left back because Lissandro Martinez stays fit and Lenny Yoro stays fit and it works. Or you never know, Lissandro Martinez could turn into the left back and Schlotterbeck could go into the left centre back and he could form a really good partnership with Lenny Yoro. A little bit like what happened at Arsenal. I think that Schlotterbeck could be a really good pick for United, especially with, Borussia Dortmund's interest in Sancho and us wanting someone that could potentially cover left back, a 2-on-1 signing, which is why we looked at Inacio in the first place. But I think Schlotterbeck would be better suited to the Premier League and is more developed. In Schlotterbeck, he's big, he's got physical elements to do well on the ball, to do well in the Premier League, but he's so technically good. And for a guy that's so big, he carries the ball so well. It's a little bit like Calafiore, who Arsenal have signed, who's had a really good Euro. Schlotterbeck, Calafiore, that mould of player, I think could work really well because there's that element of physicality where, worst case scenario, even though he's left-footed, you could probably play him with Martinez as well. He is 24 years of age. Yeah, there was a rumour, and I saw a couple of people on Twitter say that Schlotterbeck was 26, and I think a lot of people get his age mixed up, but he's only 24 years of age as well. Third, he could play left-back, right-back, and centre-back. Well, he's not really played centre-back, but I think if Wan-Bissaka's sold in, and we're not sure about Mazraoui or Vanderson or Frimpong, potentially third, he could be a really good option because he could play left-back and right back. But I think if we sign De Ligt, 30 would make more sense. But if we sign a left centre back that can play left back, potentially the funds could then go on the right back. I say Schlotterbeck is pacey enough in my opinion. If you're pairing him with Lenny Yoro's got a lot of pace, so he could work as well. I think that for me, Schlotterbeck would be a really good, really smart option for United as well. I've been saying about swapping Sancho for Schlotterbeck here weeks ago when Dortmund said they couldn't afford him. And potentially this is a way that we could break down the deal for him as well. Because if we look into this and we look into this in more detail, Manchester United obviously want a left-footed defender. Manchester United are looking at sort of left-footed centre-backs on the market. We look at the options out there. We look at the options on the market right now. You've got Braithwaite, who's probably off. You've got Lukami, that could be around 30 million. But with Bologna losing Xerxes, losing Calafiore, losing many key players, they may up the price of Lukami. But he's a really good option, especially as a Braithwaite alternative. Schlotterbeck, who would be my pick, obviously. Pacho of Frankfurt. Now, William Pacho only joined Frankfurt last year, but he's been very good and he's very physically good, very technically good. I think he would suit the Premier League. If we hadn't signed Lenny Euro, I would say Hato. But the problem with Hato is he's 18 like Lenny Euro, and I think maybe just being two 18-year-old centre-backs may be a risk, but he can play left-back, left centre-back. He is an Ajax boy, so I'm sure Ten Hag's been watching him. Levi Colwill. Now, people might snub their nose up at this, but Levi Colwill is a baller. Levi Colwill, whatever we're going to call him, he's a baller. He is a baller. You get him out of Chelsea, he will thrive. I think he would be fantastic for United. He's their best centre-back. They played him at left-back last season, but he's their best centre-back. Brilliant player. Watched him at Brighton. Would take him at United. Hincapie, question marks around his physicality in the Premier League. Same with Inacio, but can play left-back comfortably. Can play left centre-back comfortably, but question marks around physicality. Murillo is really, really good. And that guy at Leipzig, whose I've forgotten the list, whose name has just lost my mind. What's the guy at Leipzig called? He looked good as well. But I do think there's a generally good option of left-sided defenders in the market that I think Manchester United could look at as well. You know, I think for me, someone that can play left centre-back and left-back, it could be good. Tyreek Mitchell actually had a very underrated season at Crystal Palace, and I think he's a good player. But I don't know if it's what we want in terms of third-choice left-back. I think look, if we went for it, I wouldn't complain, but I don't think he'll want to leave Palace, who are building something good, to be our third-choice left-back. Well, he'd be second-choice centre for Malacia right now. We did have a good season. But yeah, the Turkish left-back third, he could be a good option as well. But I think for me, I'm looking at sort of centre-backs with the ability to play left-back, because I think the Luke Shaw and Malacia are good left-back options. So I want this person to be able to play centre-back. So if I don't want to spend 30 million on a left-back. If Luke Shaw's fit most of the season, they can't get in. Whereas if you spend 30 million, so they can play left centre-back and left-back, the versatility there could be useful. And that's what Arsenal's done. Jurrien Timber can play right centre-back, right-back. Ben White can play right centre-back, right-back. You know, Calafiori can play left-back, left centre-back. They've got Saliba, they've got Gabriel, they've got cover for them, but with these players that can also start elsewhere. So I think that Cucurella won't happen because, one, he's had a very good Euros, but he really suits the way of football Enzo Maresca wants to play. So if Chelsea put Cucurella up for sale, you can just tell they're not backing the manager. I mean, I don't know what Chelsea are doing. They, started off strong in the window. Esteval, maybe getting Elise, and then, Chelsea are doing a load of crap now in the window. But, if they want to put Levi Colwill up for sale, Cucurella up for sale, that could help our left side dynamic. But I think that they very much suit what Maresca wants to do. So I don't think Cucurella will be out on loan this season. So I quickly want to talk about the tour, and then I'm going to dive back into some more transfer news updates and stuff like that. But let me just get into the news on the tour. Who's going to be on the tour? What's the plan? A little bit about what Ineos want to do going forward, and then I'll dive into some more bits and bobs. But we get to see Lenny Euro on tour. We will not be getting to see Xerxes on tour. So it said, United will be based at the University of California for most of the tour. Kobbie Mainoo, Shaw, Xerxes, Martinez, Garnacho and Pelistri will return from vacation too late to be part of the tour. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters and Pelistri will not be part of the tour, which is annoying. I think Pelistri will probably be gone by the end of the tour, to be honest. It was said that Brailsford, Barada, Ashworth and Wilcox are all travelling to LA to get used to working together and support Ten Hag. The others will stay to take care of work in the transfer window. I still think they'll be working online in LA, but they're trying to get used to working with each other, and it's good to see the CEOs have some kind of involvement with the first team and watch the first team. So when it comes to transfer work, they'll see what Ten Hag sees in training, they'll see what they see on the pitch. It was also said that Steve McLaren stays to coach Mainoo, Shaw, Martinez, Garnacho, Fernandes, Delo, Xerxes and Pelistri when they return, among some of the academy players that didn't make the tour. Now, players like Joe Hugo are expected to go out on loan, which is why he didn't make the tour. Ethan Ennis didn't make the tour. Ethan Williams didn't make the tour. Shea Lacey, due to injury issues, did not make the tour. But the likes of Harry Ames, Toby Collier, Ethan Wheatley, and a couple other players have made the tour for United, including Will Fish, Reece Bennett, and a couple centre-backs, as we're very short in the centre-back department, with no Martinez, obviously Varane leaving and not going on tour, and us having not signed that second centre-back as well. But yeah, I think it's a decent squad to go on tour with. Of course, a lot of key players are missing, and that is a little bit annoying. But at the end of the day, the way I see it is, I think last season was so intense that we had games, World Cup games, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks off, and then a really intense preseason schedule. So I think it's really good that Martinez, Garnacho and Mainoo are getting rest. As key as they are, and as much as we almost need them in preseason, elements of just tactical work and getting them used to playing with the squad, I do really think at the end of the day, it's good that Mainoo and Garnacho and Martinez and Shaw are all just getting that big long break from football as well. Maxi Odile is obviously going on tour as well. He got a brilliant assist to Hugo the other day. He looks like a ball of a player. Mejbri will be on tour. Ahmad, of course, will be on tour. I can get the tour squad up for those who haven't seen it. I'll get the tour squad up for those who haven't seen it because I do want to get into the transfer news in a second. But if we look at the tour squad here, you can see on my screen, this is Manchester United squad for tour. Obviously, Heaton, me, and Arna Vitek in goal. No Bayendir on tour, which is an interesting one. It was also said Amas, Reece Bennett, Johnny Evans, Will Fish, Lindelof, Maguire, Murray, Wan-Bissaka, and Lenny Yoro on tour. So it's good to see Harry Amas there. I think Harry Amas will need another year before he breaks into the first team. I think technically Harry Amas has got everything you want, but I think he just needs to develop physically. But he did have a good second game. Midfield, we've got Casemiro, Toby Collier, Christian Eriksen, Hannibal, Jack Fletcher, really exciting academy player, Sam Manford, exciting academy player, Scott McTominay, Mason Mount, Maxi Odile, and James Scanlon, exciting academy player there. And then Ahmad, Antony, Hoyland, Rashford, Sancho back in it, and Wheatley. So that is United squad on tour. Not sure if anyone else will join up in time as well. Do you think Man United could break into the top four? I think we can next season with the right players staying fit. I think if the players that we need to stay fit, and we do get that midfielder in. For me, we need a midfielder. If we want any chance of getting back in the Champions League, we need a DM that's going to unlock Kobe and it's going to unlock Bruno. We need someone that's physically able. So for me, if we can get another DM in, if we can get another centre-back in and key players can stay fit, I think we can get into the top four next season, yes. So what else has been said on United's transfer plans? I covered some of this earlier today, but I want to give you a bit of a recap because these are some newer developments. If Mazraoui is to leave FC Bayern, it will only be direct sale or a loan with obligation to buy. Mazraoui does not want a loan. He's focused on a permanent deal. It was also said that Manchester United are considering entering talks with Brentford for Ivan Toney if the price tag drops below 40 million. We spoke about this earlier today. Ivan Toney to United, while I don't think it's a need, I think we need to focus elsewhere. He's definitely one to watch at the end of the window in terms of him and other Premier League clubs. I think if Wan-Bissaka goes, we'll go for Mazraoui. I think Morten Hulman is one that's being watched, and Sam Manford has now extended his contract to +1 year, which is just a recap of what came out earlier today. Amrabat we're also having talks with. I think there is a few little bits and bobs going on. Now, if I'm going to give you my honest opinion on the transfer front and where I believe Manchester United are at with transfers and what I believe Man United are doing with transfers, as much as I'd like Adam Morton and Man United to look to him, he's sort of been deemed probably unlikely due to price and the complications of getting that deal done. Do really like Adam Morton, big fan of him, but yeah, that kind of deal is right now is probably deemed difficult because of price and complications of getting it done. If I was going to be honest with what Man United are doing right now, they're focusing on sales. They want Antony gone, they want Sancho gone, but they're not going to put that out there. Casemiro, McTominay, Eriksen, Mejbri, they're open to getting rid of. Lindelof, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, they're open to getting rid of. Wan-Bissaka goes, Mazraoui, Vanderson, Ferdy, will probably make a move for one of them. That's, eye for an eye. That's that. Now, what I think they want is maybe a McTominay sale, so they get some cash, and then they may push ahead with Agate only if PSG lower the fee. If PSG don't lower the fee for Agate, there could be a Fofana hijack if there's time left in that deal. They could move for Morten Hulman, that's definitely one to watch, and they may explore Subamende, but we've got no real indication if Subamende wants to come to Manchester United or not. Whereas with Fofana, he's open to the move. Whereas with Agate, he's open to the move. So there's the big question there. But right now, United's focus is midfield, and I think where the transfer news is going to be and where it has been this week with Fofana, Subamende, Hulman, the focus is midfield. The focus right now at Man United is midfield. So it'll be interesting to see what we do. I think it is Agate, it is tactic, get PSG to lower the Agate price, which PSG have to do. They want Jan Neves, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think Amrabat is there as a last-ditch option if movement doesn't happen and we run out of funds. But I personally would like to see Agate, Subamende, Fofana, one of those players over the line, probably two players, but if Collier has a very good pre-season, maybe one midfielder could be enough as well. Can't wait for the season just here to enjoy. You know what? I am excited going into the season. And every time I say that, we end up having a really bad season. Like when we signed Ronaldo, Varane, and Sancho had a bad season under Ollie, and last year I was really excited because we'd obviously finished third, and I thought we were going to kick on and we had a bad season. But I'm excited for this season because it feels different with Ineos coming in, and the focus of the project now at Manchester United isn't about making money. It's about, sport. It's about sporting success. It isn't, what we're going to do that's going to make the most money. It's, thinking about sporting success and how can we make Manchester United successful on the pitch. That's what I like as well. We need a Michael Carrick-type conductor, I agree. We need someone that is athletically able to play in that that large space system and cover large amounts of ground and have the physical capabilities we lack in midfield, but also elements of Michael Carrick conducting, breaking up play, comfortable on the ball, which is why Yusuf Fofana, value for money wise, could be a really good option, even as just a second midfield signing for the depth that it could bring as well. What are my Prem predictions? A bit early to say, just because we haven't really seen the business being done. Right now, I'd probably put Arsenal to win it. I'd probably put United into the top 4. But not many clubs have done business. I think Spurs could be doing some smart business as well. I think Spurs would be one to watch. Marpetir said in his video today that PSG and Neves is getting close to conclusion, so Agati price may come down once that's done. Fair enough. Hopefully there's some developments on that. I believe the Agati price is going to come down whether they get Neves or not, to be honest. I think they know they're going to have to take a loss on Agati. I agree with Lucky. I think we should go all out and try and buy Yusuf Fofana. I think Man United should be all over a deal for Yusuf Fofana, but it doesn't seem like we're going to go out and buy Yusuf Fofana, which is annoying as well. Frankie de Jong would be good, but he doesn't want to come to Manchester United. I do like Frankie de Jong, but that's not going to play. Arsenal could win it City squad as AG. I do worry Arsenal's going to win it, but I guess I don't want Man City to win the league again. But I really want Arsenal to win the league again because their fan base is probably the most unbearable. At least with Man City, when they win the league, they only have about 3 fans, so nobody notices it. But Arsenal's fan base can be unbearable at times. Like, I'm not going to be unbearable. Alice, who would be your pick for left centre back? Probably Schlotterbeck now. We can't get Calafiori. Now that Branthwaite's off, I do like Schlotterbeck. I do like Lukami, but I don't know. There's a lot of good options out there. Alice, I almost forgot we signed Xerxes because we got that deal done so quick and so swiftly. It feels weird watching my club act like this in transfer window. You're absolutely spot on. It feels mad. It feels mad to see how well and how efficiently we're moving in the transfer window and getting things done. I think it's an exciting time to be a United fan. And my video out tonight, if there's no breaking news, we'll go into information on that and cover that and how it feels like it really is the end of the Glazers and the start of a new era. Who are you most excited to watch from Preseason tour? Toby Collier, because I think he's going to have the most impact next season. Jack Fletcher and Harry Amos are 2 players I've watched in the academy, so I'm interested to see how they do on tour. But they obviously 3 years younger than Toby Collier, who's 20, so I'd probably say most excited for him as well. Bayendier, I believe, is injured, and that's why he's not on pre-season tour. But there is rumours of Bayendier being sold. Yes, you are correct on it. There is some rumours of Manchester United potentially departing with Bayendier. Schlotterbeck is rarely injured. Really good buy. I agree. Nobody cares about City. They lost to Celtic. Nobody cares. But United and Liverpool lose a friendly, and it's on ESPN. Yeah, literally. I didn't even know that they lost to Celtic. Like that kind of stuff as well. We should move for that and can move for Yusuf Fofana and Agate. I think we should go for both Fofana and Agate. I still think we need 2 midfielders. I really do. I like Agate, but I do have worries about Agate. He's not as bad as some of the tacticos are trying to make out on Twitter. But I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say I had some slight concerns about Agate, and I do think there's probably better options in the market. But I also think if we get the Sporting Agate and we have a better relationship with injuries and stuff, I think Agate can work. And I also trust Ineos. I trust this new hierarchy of Ineos and Jason Wilcox in regards to, who they pick out. If they think Agate is a good signing, I trust them that Agate will be a good signing. If that makes sense with you guys. Who would be my dream signing? My dream signing, if I could finish off the window, would be Subamende and Fofana in midfield. Schlotterbeck as left centre-back, / left back. Wing, Desiree Doué's gone. Xavi Simons, probably not going to happen. It would have been Elise. Would have been Nico Williams. That's not going to happen. Probably Neto then. Neto, if for the right price, if he can stay fit on the wing, with Antony and Sancho gone. Midfield for Fofana and Subamende. Left centre-back hybrid Schlotterbeck. That would be my next 4 options with some level of realism. That would be mine. If we're not being realistic, it would be like Tchouaméni. It would be like Mbappe. Actually, I don't think Mbappe would work with Rashford. You'd have one or the other. But yeah, it would be like Tchouaméni. It would be bring Elise back or Nico Williams. It would be like a lot. But Calafiori would be great. But yeah, that's sort of what I would probably say would be my ideal scenario. Guys, we're only on 244 likes and we've got 900 people watching right now. So can we hit 400 likes. Just less than half of you needed that like button. I really think we can do it, so please hit that like button. Joachim Anderson was probably one of the most underrated centre-backs in the Premier League, but I don't think United will be looking at him as well. I do like Mark Gay, but like Branthwaite, he's going to be incredibly overpriced, especially because he played in the Euros. If there was a left centre-back that's English that I would get, it would be Levi Colwill. I would generally go all out for Colwill as well. Agate for physical 6 and 1/8/6, mostly 8 mix. Thing is, a lot of people have been saying Agate is a lone 6 and Fofana's an 8. But you're wrong. Both Agate and Fofana do their best work in a dual pivot. None of them are lone 6s that can hold with loads of space, which is what Ten Hag tried to get Casemiro to do last season. They're not. They're pivot players. If we sign Agate or Subamendi or Fofana, we need to play a 4-2-3-1 with Maynard being the more advancing one and Subamendi, Fofana, Agate being the more defensive-minded one, because they're not lone 6s, especially in Ten Hag's system where he isolates the 6 so much that even Rodri and Tchouameni would have struggled last season. They need to be players that are playing in a dual pivot but the more defensive-minded one. That's what we need, rather than playing with 2 8s and one holding 6 that has too much to do as well. Guys, please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. 13.4 subs away from the 100k mark as well. So on the slow road to 100k, my goal would be to hit it by the end of next season, but my ambitious goal is to hit it by the end of 2024. We're on 86,492 subscribers. So we're only 8 subscribers away right now from 86.5k. Only 8 subscribers away. So if you are new, please do subscribe because there will be a bonus video tonight. There's 2 to 3 pieces of content every day throughout the transfer window. 2 live streams, 1 long live stream, 1 short live stream where we interact with you guys. We go through all the news, we have discussions, we dive into all the United news and the work they're doing, but we'll also do bonus content as well. We do 10-minute short roundups every evening, so if you don't have time to watch like an hour's plus worth of live streams and catch up on the news, you could just get all your news in 10 minutes at the end of the day as well. So do appreciate it if you do hit that like button and subscribe as well. Kakare could be a good option. He's more of a box-to-box player that you would play alongside a Casemiro Agate type player, but I do like Kakare despite not having the best season as well. Let's go for 100k by Xmas. That would be amazing as well. If Ineos came in a season earlier, Arda Geller would be at United. You know what? I know someone that said 2 years ago that Man United should get Arda Geller. I remember him speaking about it 2 years ago, and I'd never heard of him at the time. And that guy, Man United need to hire him as a scout. That guy was absolutely on it when he was talking about Arda Geller and how Real Madrid will be looking at him soon. He was absolutely on it as well. What's the update on the Arsenal Academy player? He's still expected to join United. There's reports of personal terms being agreed, but that has not been officially confirmed, but he is expected to join United. Listen, people, I'm going to wrap up today's live show here. I only want my evening live shows to be sort of half an hour and my morning live shows to be about 45 minutes longer one. But I do appreciate everyone for tuning into today's live show. If any news breaks, I'll be back later today. I will have a bonus video tonight. So make sure you subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time and bye.